Hello and welcome back to Get Even. This is Bio Enchanted, and today we'll be starting our Red story properly. I quite like the way the main menu changes there to incorporate his name into the menu as well. It's a good bit of visual design.
Cerebral link, patient number Black 001. Pandora unit terminal disconnect. Would you like to commence archive data review, Dr. Ramsey?
Yes. Switch to Savant unit playback. Begin the review. Oh, and Hope, could you also fire up the coffee machine?
Doctor, prior to review, my medical recommendation would be the implementation of a minimum 4-hour rest period. Further caffeine intake will only delay fatigue, not arrest it.
Then make it a double shot. 3 sugars. I also need a baseline memory to carry out the review. Which was the most stable from those recorded?
That would be this. Cached on initial Pandora system startup of patient Black 001.
Good. Then let us explore a complete memory before we review the broken. Proceed with interactive playback.
Of course, before we do that, we have a few things to look around in the office, because while these aren't counting as actual evidence, because only Black's evidence actually counts as evidence in this game, Ramsey still has a few interesting things to look at, mostly technobabble about how the Pandora and Savant work in relation to the way it interfaces with memories and the cerebral cortex and all that kind of stuff. It's mostly technobabble and not particularly relevant to the overall story, but I thought I'd show it off because it's kind of interesting that it's this well thought out. There's quite a lot of articles about it and things like that, and like a lot of writings from Ramsey about how the phases actually work and everything like that, and how it all correlates with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that kind of stuff. There's some neat kind of pop psychology going on here, and pop science, and just pop everything. And as you can tell from the dialogue of this game so far, popcorn too. But it's corny in a way that I like. There's a lot of like somewhat overacting, but it's in a way that's kind of appropriate to the type of story it's telling. And I find in a lot of cases it's kind of appropriate and effective as well, like in Black's protestations against Ramsey. That's quite a good delivery of that kind of dialogue. And here a bit more detail on synaptic bleed. So I'd show these off because they're kind of, just because they're here. And I figured I'd show them off now. I also like the idea that it has an unintentional religious problem as well, where sometimes people will have, like, weird feelings about stuff that were not expected, because they're kind of messing with people's minds here in a way that's unprecedented. So of course they're going to have some strange behavioural reactions. But without further ado, let's actually finally start exploring this first memory. And we selected specifically because it was the most accurate to what actually likely happens, the least distorted.
Commencing data review imminently. Decoding memory cache and Savant playback. Binary filters online. Servers currently running at optimal speed. Inputting biorhythmic feedback parameters. Deep insulin injection in 3, 2, 1. You are ready to go, Dr. Ramsey.
Stay away from me. Stay away.
It's okay. I'm a friend.
Did my dad send you? My dad sent you.
As you can tell, Ramsey has
Okay,
very different...
Commencing review. Now, where is...
As I was saying, Ramsey actually has a very different way of moving than Black does, a different way of fighting, a different way of interacting with the world. Because, unlike Black, Ramsey is a scientist, not a trained soldier. So he has this sonar. As an administrator, he can wall hack and see through walls and see where everyone is in advance so that he can more effectively stealth around them. But of course he doesn't actually start the level with any weaponry, so we're kind of defenseless right now. So we need to do this instead.
Simulation parameters stable, Dr. Ramsey. You are free to continue with the review.
Now this guy moves fairly quickly. So something you'll notice with Ramsey compared to Black is that you can't really avoid killing people as him as easily as you can with Black. He is a much more, ironically, combat heavy level design, because you can see the guys are already coming back here. He's not leaving. So he'd just see us if we tried to go into the building. So let's quickly take him out before it becomes a problem. As a result of the way Ramsey works, his levels are actually much harder than Black, because while Black could see the vision cones on his phone, and therefore more easily skirt around them, Ramsey
Warping
can't.
script active, Dr. Ramsey.
Good. Okay, let's follow the trail. See what really happened.
Save the girl.
It's definitely interesting though. It's different enough to keep Ramsey feeling like a very different person to play as, but it's not different enough to confuse the player and leave him wondering what the hell's meant to be going on here. So at least the shooting is still basically the same. The only difference is the tools you have alongside it. As you can see, the Ingrams that aren't, there's these imprints that aren't really people. They're more just bodies to inhabit. They show up in green while the enemies themselves show up in red. So that you can work out
This is where they
how things are going to go.
held her. Oh, Christ.
Careful, Dr. Ramsey. Control.
I also quite like that all the evidence Black finds appears here as well in the levels. That's kind of a neat visual touch.
You know, Hope,
There we go.
this is really quite satisfying.
Doctor, might I remind you to control your emotional engagement while conducting the review? Any spikes in serotonin, dopamine, or adrenaline levels could...
I know. Cause distortion. Noted. Thank you, Hope.
Because I think the evidence that appears here only appears if you've actually found it as well, which is kind of an interesting thing. So of course, otherwise Ramsey wouldn't know it was even here. So in here, for example, we can see the drug they used to keep his daughter sedated, whenever she acted out. Also, I think the enemy layouts in these levels, while they're practically the same, behave slightly differently because of the way the stealth in this level doesn't really work as stealth as easily.
There seems to be a lot of resistance here, Hope. I wonder, was this a result of Black trying to hide something? Or from the Pandora itself?
Yes, Dr. Ramsey. Black perceived threat here, which has bled across from the audit. Nothing I can do.
Makes it more difficult. I'm not trained like Black was. No matter.
You may notice though, the Savant Computation Resource Bar is basically our energy bar. It's what allows us to do the sonar shift thing, and also to assimilate people. So if that bar runs out because we've assimilated someone too many people too quickly, we can be in a lot of trouble until it regenerates. Because otherwise we end up surrounded by enemies. And as later levels will make clear, Ramsey's enemies aren't as placed as Black's enemies are. Black can eventually kill all the enemies in the level and not have to worry about it too much. But Ramsey, when things get heated and the enemies start actively seeking him out, the game will mention that enemies will actually respawn, and you need to take them out basically until their resources are exhausted. So basically you have to just keep taking them out, or just moving to the next checkpoint as fast as possible before you get overwhelmed. So as Ramsey, you need to be a lot more careful, but you're still a lot more trigger happy in general than Black was. And again, there's kind of an irony in that, because Black is the fighter, while Ramsey is the thinker. So here we are.
Oh God.
Let's see what really happened when Black tried to rescue Grace.
My poor child.
Help me.
I will fix all this. I promise.
Emotional spike detected. Caution advised, Dr. Ramsey.
I will get to the bottom of this, and whoever is responsible will pay.
Oh, this isn't right.
Dr. Ramsey? Dr. Ramsey?
Robert, listen. It won't be long before Grace is old enough to leave home. Until then, there's you and me and the work.
Oh, Grace. Hope,
This is a weird ship.
where am I? What happened to the Pandora playback?
I'm trying to pinpoint precisely where or when you are. I'm afraid your emotional state has caused a minor malfunction in playback. You are outside the code, Doctor. I would recommend caution. The data is unstable, fragmented. You must remain calm or you risk...
Don't tell me the risks, Hope. Just get me out. Now, let's see where we are.
I quite like as well the elevator buttons are all screwed up. For example, here they're left and right instead of up and down. Like, this, outside the code area, things are getting really weird. As you can see here, like, Ramsey is a lot less stable than Black was. Probably because it's his own family involved. So the numbers even here are screwed up and beyond recognition. Screensavers bouncing all over the place. It's like... quite interesting little like visual touches like that show everything is just a little bit off.
Ah, I know this place. This is one of my memories.
Jesus, Paul. I can't believe you brought them here. What were you thinking?
Rose, this is an FDG facility, my facility. Staffed by the best doctors money can buy. There is no better care.
I'm not talking about that. You don't need doctors, Rob. You need a fucking mortician. Oh, God, this is such a mess.
Rose, just breathe. I need you together. I need you with me on this.
Oh no, this is that memory.
Doctor, your vitals are reading as erratic. You must calm down or you risk full mental fracture.
Too late. Hope, get me out of here.
I'm trying, Doctor. Just a little longer.
Let's go.
Come on, come on!
This corridor wasn't here before.
Where am I? Oh.
Doctor, try reconstructing the memory. Look for and interact with any memory imprints. It will allow me to pinpoint and remove you.
I'm trying, Hope, I really am. Just seeing this again is difficult for me.
Of course, there are puzzles in these rooms. So let's find and solve the first one, shall we? First we have to walk to ourselves into the asylum, weirdly enough. And here we find the first thing. The tap is on the mirror, but not on in the actual world. So let's turn off the tap, shall we? And walk back to our own input
What's happened
again.
to this poor fella then? Blast injury?
Some fragmentation. But we also suspect gastrointestinal injuries too.
Nasty.
I really like this music here as well. There's the infinite looping hospital corridor. I like all the weird decor as well. And the interesting inversion that as he gets closer to the weird looking decor, it gets cleaner looking as opposed to the other way around. which you'd expect in this kind of mental state. Probably because as he's coming closer to everything.
I need to know. I need your memories. This music should stimulate your recall, Black. It's Grace. My Grace, playing the violin. You used to hear it in my office. Remember, Black? What did you do?
So, the Puppet Master music was actually Grace on the violin. Here, of course, it's a simple line up the code on both windows. 4190. Let's put it in, shall we? Yeah, these puzzles are fairly simple, but they're interesting. And I quite like the really badly faded thing and all the blurriness and stuff as well.
Data indicates that you are making progress.
Thank you, Hope.
I
felt as much. Feels like the Savant and I are beginning to synchronize, finally.
Looks like
this
one's been
Puppet Master.
transferred.
He's not particularly stable. Are you sure that's wise?
This comes right from the top. We're to transfer him to a private medical facility.
That's unorthodox. Who is he?
But yeah, the Puppet Master music is actually Grace on the violin, being pumped into Black's consciousness, likely to help stimulate memories of Grace. A quite the visual touch here, following the shadow of the hospital workers as well, as it becomes clearer and clearer. They're dealing with someone who's in a really bad state right now to transfer them to a different facility. Here, some of these toys have candles near them. We have to, of course, again, match them in the other window. Of course, these lights we can't do anything about. We have to just change the ones in the other window to match these ones. This one took me a while to work out what was actually going on. I'm a little bit dense.
Looks like I can proceed now. I need to get out of the loop.
You're ready as you can be, Mr. Black. We'll be moving you tomorrow, okay? Just where is he being transferred exactly?
All we've been told is he'll be picked up in a private ambulance tomorrow morning.
What about the girl?
Oh, there's nothing we can do, I'm afraid.
That poor, poor girl.
I did everything I could. There was nothing more I could...
I feel like I'm much more frantic and how much more fucked up the corridors are getting as this segment goes on, before it clears up as it gets closer to it. Like, this hospital's looking more and more run down from a distance than it was before. It's gone full on Silent Hill at this point. But again, only until Ramsey brings it into close focus by coming into contact with the walls themselves. It's visually neat. And these corridors are kind of a maze, although not as much of a one that you can't navigate it easily. It feels like a maze, but it practically isn't really. Can't go that way, there's a million mannequins with Pandoras on their heads there, that's weird. I quite like that visual actually, that's a neat visual, with all the mannequins with the blue lights and everything.
Okay, well, he's all theirs, I suppose.
Are you sure about this? He's in no fit state to travel.
Like I said, out of our hands.
Everything's in place for the transfer. We're just waiting on the ambulance.
This all seems a little drastic, Robert. Are you sure this is the best decision?
He'll be safe in my care. I need to get to the bottom of what happened.
I think what you need is sleep. Especially after Grace.
Do not talk to me about Grace. I won't tell you again.
Grace. My poor Grace.
One moment, Dr. Ramsey. Your signal is much clearer now. Pulling you out.
This goes to show that this section of the game it's much easier to be impartial from a distance.
Dr. Ramsey? Dr. Ramsey? Do you wish to proceed?
Yes, Hope. Apologies. How many problem memories did I bookmark in the audit?
3 problem memories were bookmarked.
And they're all significantly corrupted?
Yes, Dr. Ramsey. We should have sufficient data to make sense of them when reviewed.
Let's review in the same order we audited Hope. Load the first bookmark.
Loading.
So next we'll actually be skipping straight to Jasper's dying minutes. There are 4 key levels to explore here. So next time we'll do number 2. See you then. Goodbye.